Well, good morning. Welcome Saturday morning, fully resourced, empowered living community. We're in kind of a new setup here, right? So Andrew Manzano came over where he set up a whole in-house studio for me. So this is a new background. Over the next couple of weeks, my helpers are going to help me maybe put some shelves up, maybe get some furniture in here. So this may be the new look. So for some of you, this may be your first time jumping in on the Fully Resourced program. If it is, welcome. Great to have you. You can jump over to the YouTube channel and watch all the free teaching. The Fully Resourced Mentorship Program is a program that is both a digital learning tool. So there's about 6 or 7 hours of direct-to-camera teaching that you're going to see here in a minute. And then there's monthly live support calls with myself. Mentoring calls where you can ask questions. I do a little bit of teaching, and there's a whole community of people that are going through. There's hundreds literally going through the program right now. So we've been looking at the 6 intellectual faculties, right? And so we know that we have physical senses, right? We have the ability to see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, and we use these physical senses as tools to help us in our thinking. So in great part, our thinking is formed by what we see and what we hear, by how we interact with our physical environment. And yet we know that simultaneously we live on 3 planes of existence, that we are spiritual beings, that we've been gifted with an intellect, that's our ability to think and reason, and that we live and experience our world in our physical body. And if we can elevate our thinking beyond just what we see, beyond just what we feel, just beyond our experiences, we can actually tap into a higher side of our nature. And we've been looking at these 6 intellectual faculties: intuition, imagination, reason, perception, right? And today we're going to look at memory. So memory, you're going to find, it really is not what most people think it is. What most people define as memory is really recall, our ability to recall stored information. But memory actually works both ways. It works certainly from the past, where we can access past stored knowledge. But if we want to use our memory in a really powerful way, we can actually remember our future. So I'm going to cut away. We're going to jump in on this teaching. It's about 12 minutes. When you're in the full program, of course, we go a little bit deeper into this, but let's take a look at the teaching on the intellectual faculty of memory. I'll see you on the other side. Now, the next of these 6 faculties is your memory, and is perhaps the most misunderstood and underutilized of them all. First, most people do not know what the faculty of memory is. And secondly, they think it only works as a tool for our past. See, the definition of memory is this: memory is the faculty of the mind, or the brain, which information is encoded, a purpose often known as learning. It's stored and retrieved when needed. Memory is vital to experiences and related to the limbic system. It is the retention of information over time for the purpose of influencing future action. So everything we have ever experienced is stored in our memory. Some will say everything since our birth. I believe it starts long before our birth. I believe we store everything we experience from the moment of our conception. Every thought, feeling, sensation, or experience that we encounter as an embryo is stored in our mind, and then is stored in our brain as it develops. Remember, our mind is different from our brain. Our mind is the movement of our thinking and is found in every cell of our being. Our brain is the chemical and electronical switching station. It's an organ, much like the heart is an organ. I've explained this before in this way. Imagine you're thinking of a scary thought, or maybe even a happy thought. That thought is energy transmuted into feeling, and that emotion is then expressed through our body, and we experience our face cheeks turn red, our palms begin to sweat, or our heart begins to race, our stomach starts to churn. This is the expression of our thoughts and feelings in our mind, but found in every single cell of our being. Every cell in our body has intelligence, and every thought and feeling, every sensation and experience is stored within us, and it never goes away. They are energy signatures, and we know energy cannot be destroyed. It stays with us forever. Think back to a time when you had a childhood experience, either happy or a sad one, a joyful or hurtful one, and instantly you can feel those emotions in your body just as though it happened right now. What most people refer to as memory is really recall. Now, there's a big difference between the storing of thoughts and emotions and our ability to recall them. You don't even have to try to store a memory. In fact, you cannot not store them. Think of it this way. What did you have last night for dinner? Just think. Now, what time did you have dinner? What did you eat? Who were you with? What were you watching or listening to? What were you thinking? Now, I bet you were probably able to answer those questions with about 99% accuracy. Now, last night at dinner, you didn't say to yourself, okay, I've got to remember this because Paul's going to ask me about this tomorrow in the program. No, those thoughts, those ideas, those emotions and experiences were just automatically stored. And by me asking you questions, I jarred your recall. I helped direct your thinking. I activated your faculty of will, had you focus on your dinner, and then on the time, then on the who, the what, the where, the when, and you were able to recall exactly what you had, who you were with, what was going on. So certainly you can see that all of your past memories are stored. That is, your past thoughts, feelings, emotions, and experiences. But what you may not know is you can use your imagination and create memories in your future. You have been gifted with the ability to travel to a place of your own creation, travel forward in time, and literally build a memory, complete with all the details, all the emotions, and all the experiences, anything you want, however you want it. And those memories will also be stored. And you can and you do create memories in the future all the time. And you can also remember your future. Think of the words, you remember, right? There's a remembering, there's a connection. You take each individual frame of this future image and experience and you remember it. You bring it back together. You probably did this morning when you woke up and you started to think about, what are you going to wear today? You stood in front of your closet and you asked yourself, well, what am I going to wear today? And when you imagined your day, who would you be meeting with? How would you want to feel? Where you would be traveling? What kind of work you were going to have to do? And depending on the image you built, you imagined how you wanted to feel and experience that day, what you wanted to look like. And if you had to catch a flight today, you probably chose some comfy clothes rather than a suit or a long formal gown. And then you took that image of what you were going to do in the future and the image of how you wanted to feel, and you remembered them. You then started to search for the perfect outfit that would be the perfect match for the vibration of the feeling of that energy that you would be in. And you searched until you had an energy match, and then you picked what it was that you were going to wear. We do this hundreds of times a day. This idea of us remembering our future isn't far out there as some of you may think it is. You do this probably before every meal at a restaurant. You imagine, what you want to experience for your meal. You imagine the conversation that you're going to have, what you have to do after the meal. Maybe you have a long drive home and you don't want to feel heavy during the future ride home. So you imagine feeling light and comfortable, feeling clear-headed. And so you remember that energy signature and begin to search the menu for the perfect vibrational match for how you want to experience your future. You order a salad and not the steak. You order the iced tea and not the red wine. You have a perfect memory. It's impossible for you to have anything but a perfect memory, and your memory works both in the past and in the future. The Queen in Alice of Wonderland said, "It's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards." And she was right. Most people have never been taught how to build memories, and more than that, most people have never been taught how to use their memory in goal setting or dream and vision building. Sadly, we've been programmed that we should not use our memory this way. We are told as children to kind of get our heads out of the clouds, to stop daydreaming and, pay attention, as though paying attention requires a higher level of focus than daydreaming into our emerging future does. We will be spending much more time with this as we get to some of the exercises later in the program, but for now, it's important for you to know your memory is different from your ability to recall. They both play an important part in developing our self-image and our dreams for the future, and our ability to store our memories works in the past, in the present, and in the future. The greater our ability to exercise dominion over this faculty, the clearer our vision will be for our future. Welcome back. So imagine that. Imagine that you have the ability to literally remember your future. You have the ability right now to think into what is emerging in your future, to look at this future being of yourself, this future state. And if you could create and design anything you wanted, and you can, what would you create and design? Oftentimes people get tripped up with memory and vision casting and the faculty of imagination because they say I'm not creative, or I can't get images, I can't see the image, I can't see the image of a house, or I can't see the image of a business. And that's okay. It's not so much just the imagery. If you can get the imagery, that's great. If you can't, what's more important is what is the feeling tone? What is the energy? What's the vibrational frequency? So if you had this successful business, how would you feel? What would those feelings be like? Well, you probably feel confident. You probably feel proud. You'd have a certain level of certainty, I'm sure. You'd feel more self-assured. You'd feel maybe more accomplished. And what we want to do is then we want to remember those energies and come back and begin to live our current life. And as we step into our present conditions and circumstances, we want to begin to ask ourselves a really simple question. Is this a match? Is the relationship I'm in right now with this person, with this company, with this client, with this vendor, is it a match for the future that I want? Does it match that energy? Go to your closets. Look at your clothing. Does this old suit match the energy of my future? If I wear this suit right now, would I feel confident? Would I feel certainty? Would I feel proud? If not, goodwill it goes. It gets donated away. You're going to find that probably 60 or 70% of what's in your closet really isn't a match for your future self. Go through all the drawers in your bedroom. Go through the drawers in your kitchen. Everybody has we call it a junk drawer, right? Everybody has a junk. Go through that junk drawer. And anything that's not a match for this future energy that you want, get rid of. You want to make room for the good that you want in your life. When you begin to use these intellectual faculties to help drive and frame your thinking, you think at a completely different frequency. When people work with me one-on-one or they're in my mastermind groups, one of the things that I often hear when they talk about me is they'll say, Paul, he just thinks differently. And I do, because I'm not allowing myself to think from conditions and circumstances as they are. The conditions and circumstances that I'm in right now are at best a reflection of my past thinking. And I don't want to drag my past into my future. And I don't think you do either. So I'd like to encourage you, click on the link below. Talk to one of our representatives. Learn about joining this year-long mentorship program, fully resourced mentorship. For those of you that signed up for our sales boot camp, thank you very much. Of course, the first group sold out within like the first 48 hours. I think we have about 30 seats left for the second group. So if you want to come to the January sales mastermind and jump in, we've got classes starting even today. So you can click on the link below as well for the sales program. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next week. Be well.